Hello everyone, welcome to ITLS Academy. Our lecture is continuation of factory and hospital hygiene and good manufacturing practice. This is part 2. So let's start with clean and aseptic areas. We will discuss general requirements. Very first point is design of premises. The point is sterile production should be carried out in a purpose-built unit separated from other manufacturing areas and thoroughfares. Sterilized products held in quarantine pending sterility test result must be kept separate from those awaiting sterilization. Next is internal surfaces, fittings and equipments. Particulate as well as microbial contamination must be guarded against when sterile products are being manufactured. Thus, walls, ceilings, and floors should possess smooth, impervious surfaces which will number 1. Prevent the accumulation of dust or other particulate matter. And next, allow for easy and repeated cleaning and disinfection. A suitable flooring material is provided for by welded sheets of polyvinyl chloride, that is PVC. Cracks and open joints which may harbor dirt and microorganisms, and these must be eliminated. Next point, frequently the final finish for floor, wall and ceiling is achieved using continuous welded PVC sheeting. Use should be made of well-sealed glass panels, especially in dividing walls to ensure good visibility and satisfactory supervision. Next point, internal fittings such as cupboards, drawers and shelves must be kept to a minimum. We can say that stainless steel trolleys can be used to transport equipment and materials within the clean and aseptic areas, but these must remain confined to their respective units. So you can see here the diagram showing layout and workflow of a sterile product manufacturing unit. In this diagram, you can say this is changing area. This changing area in this example is built on the black. You can see A, this is black, and B, this is gray, white, C. These are basic principles: black, grey and white, and the changing area is built upon this. Passes into the clean area is through A and B. You can see passes through A and B. This is passes to clean area, whereas entry to the aseptic area, this is you can see this is aseptic area, and the entry is first through A. You can see this entry is first by A and B followed by C. You can see entry of A and B is first while C is entering in last. For details of aseptic area requirements, this is our aseptic area. A laminar airflow workstation would be included in this area. These areas are clean area. In filling rooms for terminally sterilized products, care should be exercised to protect containers from airborne contamination. The final rinse point, that is where the containers are finally washed. This is, you can see here, should be sited as near as possible to the filling. You can see this is filling and this is sited very near to the filling. Articles which are to be transferred directly to the aseptic area from elsewhere must be sterilized by passes through a double-ended sterilizer. Solutions manufactured in the clean area may be brought into the aseptic area through a sterilization grade membrane filter. You can see this is sterilization, and by the process of sterilization these are brought into aseptic area. Double-doored hatchway through which pressurized articles may be passed into aseptic area. So now we will see what are the services. First point, clean and aseptic areas must be adequately illuminated. Lights are best housed above transparent panel set in a false ceiling. Electrical switches and sockets should fit flush to the wall. Additionally, they must either be boxed, in which they prevent dust accumulation, or radially cleanable. Next point is sinks supplied to clean areas should be made of stainless steel and have no overflow, and the water should be of at least potable quality. Any floor channels in a clean area should be open, shallow and cleanable, and should be connected to drains outside the area. They should be monitored microbiologically. Next point, sinks and drains should be excluded from aseptic areas except where radiopharmaceutical products are being processed when sinks are a requirement. Here you can see this is a flow diagram of aseptic area. You will see what components included in aseptic area. This is office, this is stock room. Things from office comes to stock room. This is air channel. From the office things also goes to compounding area. This is very nearby to office. This is cleanup area. From the cleanup area compounds go to compounding area. Compounding area is further connected to aseptic filling area, and this cleanup area is connected to sterilization. These both aseptic filling area and sterilization areas are reversible. This aseptic filling area further quarantined. Sterilization is also quarantined, while sterilization on other hand comes to packaging and finishing. This quarantine is reversible with packaging and finishing. At last, this packaging and finishing comes to storage and shipping. And this process of storage and shipping comes after the quality control. So this was all about the aseptic area. Next point is air supply. Areas for the manufacture of sterile products are classified according to the required characteristics of the environment. Environmental quality is substantially influenced by the air supplied to the manufacturing environment. Next point, the greatest risk of contamination of a pharmaceutical product comes from its immediate environment. Thus, we can say that airborne contamination is not added to the workspace, and any generated by manipulations within that area is swept away by the laminar air currents. Next comes clothing. For the clothing, cotton material is comfortable to wear, but because of the possibility of the shedding of fibers, it is regarded as a being unsuitable in the present context. Terylene, which sheds virtually no fibers, is suitable. Special laundering facilities for this clothing is desirable. Changing facilities. Entry to clean or aseptic areas should be through a changing room fitted with interlocking doors. This acts as an airlock to prevent the influx of air from outside. Staff entering the changing rooms should already be clad in the standard factory or hospital protective garments. Next point, for a clean area passes through the changing room should be from a black area to a gray area via a dividing step over sill. In this, outer garments are removed in the black area and clean room trousers suits donned into the gray area. After hand washing in a sink fitted with hand or foot operated taps, the operator may enter the clean room. Next is cleaning and disinfection. First point in cleaning and disinfection is a strict cleaning and disinfection policy is essential if microbial contamination is to be kept to a minimum. Different types of disinfectants should be employed in rotation to help prevent the development of a resistant strain of microorganisms. In-use dilutions should not be stored unless sterilized. Next point, as already mentioned, smooth, polished surfaces are cleaned most easily. Floors and horizontal surfaces should be cleaned and disinfected daily. Walls and ceilings as often as required, but the interval should not exceed 1 month. Records should be kept and immediate remedial action taken should normal levels for that area be exceeded. Next comes operations. The number of persons involved in sterile manufacturing should be as small as possible because all operations should be undertaken in a controlled and methodical manner, as excessive activity may also increase turbulence and shedding of particles and organisms. Here you can see a table of disinfectants used during the manufacture of sterile products are given. You can see these are disinfectants and these are applications. Clear soluble phenol. This is used for interior surfaces and fittings. Next comes halogens. Halogens used for the working surfaces. Next is alcohols, ethanol or isopropanol. These are also used for working surfaces, equipment, gloved hands. Other is cationic agents. This is usually in 70% alcohol. This is used for skin, gloved hands, rapid action with residual activity seen in these cationic agents. Next point is containers made from fibrous materials such as paper, cardboard, and sacking are generally heavily contaminated, especially with molds and bacterial spores, and should not be taken into clean or aseptic areas where fibers or microorganisms shed from them could contaminate the product. Containers and closures for terminally sterilized products must be thoroughly cleaned before use and should undergo a final washing and rinsing process in apyrogenic distilled water, and this is immediately prior to filling. So now we will see aseptic areas and we will see some additional requirements. First one is clothing. Accordingly, the operative must wear sterile protective clothing including headwear, powder-free rubbers or plastic gloves, a non-fiber shading face mask and footwear. Fresh sterile clothing should normally be provided each time a person enters an aseptic area. Entry to aseptic areas. Entry to an aseptic suit is usually by a black, gray, white changing procedure. Movement from black to white is generally through two changing rooms, the gray area also serving as an entry to the clean room. Next point, the operative next enters the white area where a sterile area suit, overboots and gloves are put on. The gloved hands are rinsed in a disinfectant solution. Equipment and operation. Articles which are to be discharged from the clean room or elsewhere to the aseptic area must be sterilized. Workbenches including laminar airflow units and equipment should be disinfected immediately before and after each work period. Next is isolator and blow or fill or seal technology. Advances in technology now permit self-contained work stations to be created which incorporate many of the design principles of clean room and laminar airflow units. Isolators are designed to minimize direct human interventions in processing areas by internally providing grade A positive pressure joint laminar airflow, and transfer devices accessed by means of a glove or sleeve system. Now we are going to see the conclusion of this test that we are studying from 2 lectures. So, the very first point is the sole objective of all hygiene and manufacturing control is to ensure the quality of the pharmaceutical product for the safety and protection of the patient. Many such products are for oral and topical use, and the question may fairly be posted as the point of what are now quite stringent conditions. Next point is a greater degree of stringency is required for the production of terminally sterilized products. The single most important reason is to ensure the lowest possible microbial burden to the sterilizer, thereby ensuring the highest sterility assurance level attainable. Next point, even further criteria must be satisfied when products are being prepared aseptically, where microbiological quality is entirely dependent upon observance of the highest possible production standards. So thank you very much guys for watching this session. Follow ITLS Academy on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and LinkedIn. For latest videos and updates, subscribe ITLS Academy on YouTube. For an easy access of ITLS Academy, get the app of ITLS Academy on Google Play Store. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, then like and share with your friends also. And also subscribe the channel ITLS Academy. For any help or query, you can call us our helpline number 7080-833-450. You can also reach us on our website www.itlsacademy.com. So thank you very much again for watching this session.